This video was sponsored by NordVPN, a virtual private network service that provides much needed safety in an age where cybersecurity is more important than ever. This is going to be a rant, so forgive me. The public square has always evolved with every change in how we get information. What used to be just a town crier yelling the news in the public square became books, became newspapers, radio, TV, and now the internet. The internet is an amazing tool to receive information. It has allowed the public square to explode. Everyone can now be a voice. Podcasts, forums, an online video, or even the comment section below said video.
This is terribly put together.
Such a cool way to suicide.
But as the internet has matured, that public square has become monopolized. The social media sites, the way we receive information, and the way people reach an audience is really in the control of less than 5 companies. You cannot get a large following to spread your message without Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, or in my case, Google. With YouTube, "Don't be evil" was Google's motto when they first became the world's largest search engine. Right out of the gate, they might as well have been a monopoly. Nobody's using Yahoo or Bing. If you were in the West, anything you looked up, anything you saw, you were probably using Google. Now, 20 years on, Google is expanding to a new market, an untapped oil well, China. Google tried to get into China in 2006, but the Chinese had a certain set of rules they needed Google to comply by. Censor any information that could be against the government, the standard stuff that the Chinese sites already did. Google wasn't fine with this and left China in 2010, sacrificing profits for morals. Well, now in 2018, it appears like those profits and that vast market of potential users was too much to shy away from. Google has decided to go back into China with a thing called Project Dragonfly. With Dragonfly, Google has said they are attempting to bring the outside world into China by allowing more search results that those Chinese search engines could never offer. However, that turns out to not really be the case. What Google has really done is simply come back to China under the guidelines that the authoritarian government have set. The Tiananmen Square massacre is famously something never allowed to be discussed inside Chinese borders. Anything pertaining to Taiwanese or Tibetan independence, or how Xi Jinping, the head of China, resembles a certain honey-loving bear, those are also blocked too. But it's not just about what China has done and is trying to suppress that information. China doesn't want the things they're doing now to be talked about. In its most western province of Xinjiang, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, there is a population of Turkic-speaking Muslims called Uyghurs. This area is far disconnected from the industrial East, and it is a hotbed of violence between Han Chinese and ethnic Uyghurs. The last few decades have consisted of militant Islamic groups causing bombings or stabbings that have disrupted the area, and they angered the Chinese. So what did China do? Recent reports have come out that China has imprisoned 1 million people in mass detention camps, or as the Chinese government calls them, re-education camps, to make them more model Chinese citizens. And it's not just the camps. The entire province and anywhere with Uyghur influence has basically become occupied by a constant surveillance state. Growing a beard, quitting drinking, reading a book about Uyghur history are now considered extremist, illegal acts. The Chinese create an environment where telling on neighbors or family for un-Chinese activities are rewarded, and just like North Korea, sometimes entire families are punished. Now, terrorist attacks are of course wrong, Muslim extremism is of course wrong, but what the Chinese are doing is putting the boot on an entire local culture to destroy any wrongthink. Over decades, the government has even encouraged Han Chinese to move into the region to simply outpopulate the natives. It's not just Muslims. This policy is cracking down on Christians, any religion, and of course, any actions deemed against the government. And they probably will continue doing this until there is no more wrongthink. They did the same thing in Tibet. No matter your opinions on how to deal with terrorism, 1 million people in camps is certainly not the way. Now, as all of this is happening, Google still is eager to work together with the Chinese government on expanding into the country. But instead of as partners, Google is more like a lackey who is taking orders so they don't lose that market. And this isn't some conspiracy. This move has been criticized and protested from within the company itself. This is a huge move. And the more we find out about the atrocities China is doing, the harder it might be for Google to justify themselves. Yet for now, Project Dragonfly is going forward, and I can guarantee Google will not allow you to look up the detention camps inside China. And if you do in 2020, you might harm your social credit score, which when implemented will basically be a credit score, but instead of payments, it will reward and punish depending on what you search, buy, and say. It's not crazy that China, the authoritarian state that it is doing the actions that it is. I guess the point of this video is that an American company, one that we all know, seems to not have a problem with going into this market and helping out an authoritarian state. When I first started making this video, it was very difficult to know where to start and formulate my ideas. But what I think is happening in China, or with Facebook sharing information, is a good reveal of what these companies truly are. People trust that the social media giants will not use their monopoly in this new public square to control information. But I think China is a good warning of what these companies are really capable of and how they really think. These are companies that have a monopoly on how we share information. And so much so, the only way I can even talk about this is through a Google service. So to my boss, I say, please, don't be evil. The internet is becoming a far stranger place, but you can secure yourself. That's why this video was sponsored by NordVPN. A VPN is a virtual private network. Basically what NordVPN does is it secures your information through it whenever you go online. By accessing a private network with military-grade encryption, you can protect yourself. They have thousands of servers from 60 countries that you can access, and with a simple interface, it's easy to set up. Say I want to have a new address in France or Germany, NordVPN allows you to do that. NordVPN is one of the few VPNs that actually works in China and can surpass the Great Firewall. Hint hint. And it works on any iOS and Android phones, and Windows or Mac for computer. NordVPN is offering my viewers 75% off a 3-year plan, plus for a limited time, 1 extra month when you use the code ALTHIST. Just go to nordvpn.com/ALTHIST or click the link in the description to sign up. That's nordvpn.com/ALTHIST and use the code ALTHIST at checkout to get started today. This is Cody of Alternate History Hub.